Hey guys, what's happening? This is Dan Stevers here with a pretty cool tutorial. Honestly, I think this tutorial is probably gonna rock your world. I think because it rocked mine when I figured out this technique. So basically, we're gonna be talking about creating a shaky cam look inside of After Effects. And one of the problems in After Effects is that the camera can feel a little rigid a lot of the times, a little bit too stiff, a little too digital. So I'm always looking for ways to try and make my camera look and feel a lot more natural. And I remember a few years ago, I was doing an Andrew Kramer tutorial, which I did a lot of when I was starting out. He was a huge help to me. And he showed me a pretty cool technique that was wiggling the camera on the position. And if you're not familiar with that, we'll just go over that real quick. So what I've got here is this little scene of a camera flying through some squares here. So it's just a camera flying through squares in space right here. Just to show you the technique, not for aesthetic reasons, as you can clearly see. So our camera's just pushing through space here. And Andrew showed me this awesome technique that is you apply an expression to the position here, and to apply an expression you hold Alt and click on the stopwatch for the position here, and that's going to bring up your expressions dialog here, and in there you're going to write wiggle, if I can spell, wiggle open parentheses, and I'm going to put 2,80. And I'll talk about what these numbers mean in a second here, but I'll just show you what it does first. Okay, so now if I hit render here, you'll notice that our camera move that was just flying perfectly straight through space is now kind of rocking all over the place here. It looks kind of like an earthquake's happening or something. And I remember figuring out this technique, and I was like, oh my gosh, like my camera does not have to be boring ever again. And I was so stoked to find this technique, but I still, over time, I got to think like there's something that doesn't look quite natural about this, and I figured out what it was, and it's the problem that I had with this technique of wiggling the position here was that it didn't create any sort of rocking motion to the camera. Like I would expect the camera to be rocking and rotating and kind of tilting around, but instead it's kind of locked off. So you see these lines here stay parallel throughout the whole shot. They don't rotate at all. So I came up with this idea, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, but I just happened across it by chance. I'm going to turn off this expression right now, and I'll show you guys what I found. So if I hold Alt and click on orientation, we're going to do the same type of expression. I'm going to type in wiggle. I'm going to do a different number. It's got to be smaller this time. I'll go like 2,2 and close parentheses and then go. And so what this does is, unlike wiggling the position, it actually rotates the camera along all three of its axes. So rather than trying to explain it, I'll just give it a render and show you guys the difference here. So the difference is a little bit subtle. Maybe it looks pretty similar to the other one, but upon closer inspection, you'll actually notice that these lines are no longer parallel with the composition here. And that's because our camera is rotating along the rotation axes rather than just moving along the position axes in space here. I'll go over the numbers now and what this means. So there's two numbers in a wiggle expression. The first number here is how many times it wiggles in a second. So right now I'm having it wiggle 2 times per second, and then the second number here is the amount of the wiggle. So it's wiggling 2 times a second, and it's wiggling 2 degrees because we're talking about the orientation, which is in, as you can see in these numbers right here, is in degrees. So it's wiggling 2 times a second, and it's wiggling 2 degrees. I can make it wiggle, why don't we make it wiggle like 5 degrees? This is probably going to be too much, but just to show you what's happening with this. Whoa there. This looks like the Blair Witch Project or something. So you can see now, now the degree to which it's rotating is a little bit more intense. We can undo that. We'll put that back to 2, and maybe now we'll put this to 5 times a second. So now the speed, it's going to be wiggling 5 times a second. So let's check that out. Okay, so now there's smaller bumps, but they're happening quicker. And so those are how those two numbers work there. And there you go. Another thing you might want to do is you might actually want to combine a wiggle on the orientation with a wiggle on the position. I'm going to re-enable the expression on the position there. This can get out of control pretty quickly, so I I urge you to use with caution. But so now we're actually moving the camera around. It's wiggling in space, and then the camera itself is actually wiggling on its own rotational axes. And so there you go, guys. That I hope that's really helpful for you. It really adds a lot more life to your projects to have a little bit of wiggle on the camera. Sometimes I'll even just do it real slow and subtle, almost so you can't even see it. Maybe I'll do it like 0.2 times per second at and leave it like 2 degrees there. So let's check this out. I also stretched out the time here, so it's taking a little bit longer. So here it might even be a little bit hard to even see that it's wiggling, and that's fine with me because you can still feel it. You can still feel that it's wiggling. A lot of times effects don't need to be like they don't need to be shouting at you to like, hey, I'm wiggling. It just it can be a little bit subtle like this, and so I use this all the time. This is one of my secret tricks, and I hope it helps you guys. I hope it rocks your projects and rocks your world, basically. So anyways, my name's Dan Stevers. Thanks a lot, guys. See you next time.